The prophet Lebioda is among one of the most well-known religious figures of the Witcher world. Although the miracles he may or may not have performed aren't really spoken of, one can find plenty of followers willing to quote the good man regarding various life lessons, such as, "When a man falls asleep, the gods open his ears and speak to him," whereas Lebioda himself says that when gazing on a dream, one either sees great wisdom or great foolishness. The art is in recognizing it. But he also spoke of extremely specific situations that could apply to very specific questions posed by people like the King of Kovir. In sooth, support the pauper with alms, but rather than give the pauper an entire watermelon, give him half a watermelon, for a pauper is liable to lose his wits from happiness. Better even is to give the pauper a quarter of a watermelon, and it is even better to cause that some else give the pauper a watermelon. For in sooth, I tell you, there will always be someone who has a watermelon and is inclined to share it with the pauper, if not out of nobleness, then out of calculation or on some other pretext. Why Lebioda was obsessed with ever-decreasing amounts of watermelon is a mystery, but I'm sure he had a very good point. Unfortunately, we won't be able to ask the man at this point, as he died in a rather unheroic way some time ago. Over 100 years ago, from the time the Witcher books take place, dragons were not quite as rare as they are now, and they were a bit of a menace when it came to farming especially. To the distress of many, dragons had caught on to the fact that pastures were often full of cattle, making them the best place for them to snack with little to no effort. Their constant devouring of livestock went so far as to start threatening farm life altogether. One huge dragon became fixated on a certain village in Kedwen. It would fly in on occasion, eat a few sheep, 2 or 3 cows, and then catch a few carp from the fish ponds for dessert. To top it all off, before it left, it would breathe fire on an object of its choosing, like a barn or a haystack, and only then would it finally fly off. The villagers had of course tried to scare the dragon away by using all manner of different traps and tricks, but nothing seemed to work at all. Thankfully, as luck would have it, the prophet Lebioda had just arrived in nearby Ban Art with a throng of his acolytes. At this moment in time, he was already a celebrated prophet with masses of followers, so the villagers quickly got together and pleaded with the man for help with their dragon problem. Lebioda agreed, of course, and when the dragon arrived, he went to the pasture all on his own to begin an exorcism on the dragon. The dragon was not impressed, so it set Lebioda on fire and then ate him whole like a fleshy, bearded marshmallow, flying off into the mountains, completely unbothered afterwards. As you can imagine, Lebioda's acolytes were anything but amused. They wept over their prophet, despaired for a while, and then did what the villagers should have done in the first place. They hired some dragon hunters, a group of hardy dwarves. They stalked the dragon for a good month, following dragon droppings as they went, much to the disgust of the dwarven hunters. Every time they came across such a dragon turd, if you will, the acolytes fell to their knees beside it to rummage through the muck, looking for Lebioda's remains. After a whole lot of rummaging, they had found enough bones to piece together the whole skeleton. However, the acolytes of Lebioda were not exactly known for their extensive medical knowledge. They had pieced together a skeleton, certainly, just not a human one, or any known creature, really. Most of the bones simply weren't human bones, but largely bovine and other farmland animals. But I suppose none of Lebioda's followers intended to question this method of corpse collection, as this very collection of weird animal bones now resides in a temple in Novigrad, revered as a miraculous relic. At times, they would even let the faithful into the temple to kiss the bones, something that, given their history, I would not personally recommend. After his death, his legend only grew, and nowadays many use his good book to glean some of his wisdom, such as the aforementioned watermelon passage. In fact, Queen Zeleka of Kovir was a well-known follower of the man, often quoting his work to her husband, King Esterat Thyssen. Watermelon comparisons aside, this did aid the king in solving one of his tougher conundrums, so there must be something to it. There are also plenty of people who simply seek to profit from the prophet, of course. Clever merchants playing on the faith of others to collect temple donations, for example. But if even one person is helped by talk of large, round fruits, then I'd say that's a job well done.
I'm sure you're not surprised, but we're not doing skits at the end cards today either. I am so sorry. My Patreons are getting titles today. I hope you appreciate those too. Walguy the Illustrious, Robertson the Enlightened, Lochmoine the Fierce, MJ Coolsta the Impressive, Septic the Cattist, Mike Zweers the Unrelenting, Adrian Packle the Impeccable, Ray the Fortuitous, Freeman the Wise,